it's Sandra. Oh, I'm in there nice. Everything's cut up. Ace's top again today. Welcome to Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month after party day 19. Yes, Asexual Perspectives Awareness Month was indeed last month, which was July, and that was to celebrate our asexual differences across the asexual spectrum. So if you've just joined this channel, if you've just come across it, please hit the big subscribe button for education about asexuality and hit the bell icon so you get notified of every time I go live and post a new video. So in today's video, I want to talk to you about being proactive versus reactive when it comes to asexual dating, asexual friendships, and asexual relationships. So just gonna have some water before I get started. In my lovely Shrek mug. Let's get down to chatting about this, shall we? Right, okay. So one of the things that's hugely important in every type of situation is to be active, proactive, and not reactive. There's so many people in the world that are reactive, which means that someone or something comes along and you react to it. So maybe someone's asked you to do something and you react to it. Maybe something's come on TV and you react to it. Maybe someone said to you something and you react to it. Maybe someone sent you a text message and you react to it. Maybe someone sent you a phone call and you react to it. All this is reacting. You know, someone is coming into your life or something is coming into your life and you're reacting to it. You're responding to it, the stimuli that was put in front of you, basically. When it comes to asexual dating, asexual relationships, and asexual friendships, and making those and creating them, you need to put yourself out there and be proactive. So when you're on asexual dating sites, you need to be actively going and seeing, looking through the different profiles of people, seeing which people take your eye. You know, what hobbies and interests have they got that you like? Also, what type of things do they want in the relationship if they've got that on their profile? You know, are they looking for a man or woman, or what type of gender are they looking for? Because it's no good. Like I, for example, can only look for heteromantic guys, not homo-romantic guys, because there's no point. I'm not a guy. Do you see what I mean? And you need to be proactively looking through all the different profiles that you're interested in. So I experience aesthetic attraction. So one of the things I would do first is look at the guy to see if there was any aesthetic attraction there to begin with, because I can't kiss someone unless they're aesthetically attractive to me. So unless I like the picture of them, then there's no point. But it's really important to be proactive. I know a lot of asexuals are introverts, so you don't tend to be proactive. You don't tend to... What I mean by proactive, it means you're actively going out of your way to speak to someone, to see something, to do something. You're making the effort. So instead of reacting to some stimuli or something that's coming in your life, you're actually going out there and getting what you want in life. You know, this is true of your goals, your ambitions, your dreams, whatever you want in life. You need to go out there and get it. And the way you do that is you make a plan. You know, you write it out. You know, write it out in your book. Write it out. You know, write out. You know, like get a book and write out. You know, this is my goal for relationships, for example. You know, I want to find a person who looks like this, who does these type of hobbies, these type of interests, who either I can move to or travel to, or who lives in a certain area, you know. But asexuals need to make a huge effort with dating, because you're unlikely to find an asexual match in your city. This is something else I really need to bring up in terms of relationships and dating. You know, I was on the asexuality.com dating website. I've been on for 4 years now, and I've got this thread on there saying who wants to have a serious relationship, you know, who wants to have a serious no-sex relationship, because a lot of the people that are on there, they don't seem to be very proactive, right? It's like, you know, usually I'm the one to approach people, for example, and, you know, you normally get some people messaging back a little bit and then they just stop. You know, that's no good for me. I'm not interested in people that can't be bothered. I need people who put effort into my life and effort into me, you know. And basically a lot of the people on there aren't willing to put effort in. And there's one guy on there who I liked a while ago who's foreign. He lives in the UK, but he lives quite a way away from where I live, but he drives, I don't. And he's about, oh yeah, I'd like a serious relationship, but not many people live in my city that are asexual, and of course they're not going to. You know, we're 1% of the population. I record a 1%. There's probably more of us, but a lot of us are in hiding, as you know. 1%. This means that you have to make more effort than anyone to put yourself out there and really go for the type of relationship you want. And you have to be prepared to travel or move or find someone else who will do that. You need to find a mover or find someone who'll travel to you, you know, but you need to do this, you know. It's no good just sitting there and saying, oh, well, there's no asexuals in my city. Right, there's no asexuals in your city. That's a fact. What are you going to do about it? You know, it's no good, you know, people time and time again, I see it in groups, I see it on asexual dating sites all the time. They're writing basically, oh, there's no one in my city. Well, yeah, even if they're PR people in your city, it's unlikely they're going to be a match for you. I've got a guy who lives in my city, right? Keith, we're friends, we're mates, right? But we hardly have anything in common. We're nearly the exact opposite of each other. But we're both on asexual dating sites. And we both get on, even though despite we've got hardly anything in common. And we've got IT in common because he works websites, doing websites for a living, and I build my own websites using WordPress. So we have got that in common. But in general, we're very opposite on a lot of things. But we're both looking for asexual love. We're both quite decent people, I like to think. And you know, and we've both been on the asexual dating sites for quite some time. But he actually will go travelling in the UK to meetups to try and find someone for him. He will travel within a certain amount of distance as well to find someone. And it's all about being proactive. If you really, really want to find a relationship as an asexual, you've got to either find someone who will move or you've got to be a mover. You can't have it one way or the other unless you travel and commute and meet up at a meeting place. But eventually, if you want to live together, one of you is going to have to move. If you don't want to live together, then you have to work out if it's financially viable for you to do it if you meet up in, say, a certain place. So, for example, I live in the UK. I would travel to meet someone in London, for example. But, I mean, I don't have much money at the moment. So, you know, it's like that could really map up the cost. But if someone lived in Manchester, you know, that's like 260 quid return. I can't afford that. So there's no point in me, you know, in my financial situation at the moment, and I don't drive. But if someone was in Manchester and they were willing to drive to me and they didn't mind that, then I can go for someone in Manchester, can't I? Or Leeds or wherever. Do you see what I mean? But a lot of these guys, I mean, I tend to get attracted to foreign guys more than anything. And all the foreign guys that I've spoke to in the UK, none of them want to travel. They just want to find someone in their city, which in the ideal world, yeah, that's great. Go for it. But you'll still be there like 10 years time, probably. Do you know what I mean? It's unlikely. And if you are going to try and find someone in your city, you need to put yourself out there. Like, I'm going out dancing more lately, right? I'm going to a place where I know there's foreign guys because I only get aesthetically attracted to foreign guys. I can't be in a relationship with a British guy. I just don't feel that much attraction. So I'm going dancing where I know a lot of foreign guys are. Yes, most of them are going to be sexual. Yes, most of them are going to want sex. It's a fact, you know? But I think, well, if there's going to be, say, 200 people in that room, 1% of the population is asexual. So that's 1 in every 100, right? If there's 200 people in the room, it must mean that, figuratively speaking, another person in that room is going to be asexual. Whether they're female or male, I'm not going to know. And who they're attracted to, I'm not going to know, you know? But, you know, dancing's good for me anyway. It's healthy. It gets me out of the house, flat. And, you know, I'm enjoying going dancing as well. And just being around foreign guys is nice, even if I don't do anything with them, you know? And obviously you have to be careful if you are going out and mixing with sexuals because, you know, sexuals really need sex at the end of the day. And even though some sexuals may say they don't want it or they don't like it, a lot of the time they're just lying, sadly, because they're just telling us what they want us to hear. And I think it's a real shame that they do that. You know, it's like, please go and be with your own kind. No offence. You know, and there was this guy there when I was dancing but he wasn't denying that he was sexual. But I just said, I'm not interested, you know. I wanted a relationship with him. I said, I can't, I'm asexual. Explain what that was. And it's, you know, I said, you can't fix my orientation. It's who I am, you know. Thanks for the thumbs up on watching, whoever's watching. Really appreciate that. You know, you can't help who you are. Because, you know, he was on about kissing, because I said I like kissing. And he's all about, oh, and I said, I can't kiss a guy with a beard. He goes, oh, you just haven't tried it. Maybe you'll like it. And that's kind of like the thing we get with sex, isn't it? Oh, maybe if you try it, you like it. It's like, well, actually, I have tried it. And I told him, I said, actually, my ex was good at sex. And no, I haven't been, he wasn't abusive in sexual words. He was actually very abusive in other ways. But I said, no, he's soft and gentle. And he was good at sex. Just I rather wouldn't have had it, you know? I wasn't really interested in, don't get the need, urge, or want for it. I just thought I had to do that. So, do you know what I mean? And it's, you know, but you have to be proactive. Like, I'm proactively going out to this place now because I know if any foreign guys who are asexual in my city and they do like, you know, they're extrovert and they like going out dancing, they're most likely to be in this place. And so that's why I'm doing it, because I want to find my asexual soulmate. I mean, it's taken me 4 years and it might take me another 4 years to find him. And if it does, so be it, you know. But I really believe in my heart of hearts, you know, my life partner is meant to be asexual and Indian, actually, which makes things 10 times harder. I'm specifically Indian. I do keep my options open for other foreign guys, though, because I do get attracted to a lot of foreign guys. But ideally, I want Indian because I just feel most closest to them, you know. I really, really do. And, you know, I mean, there's a sexual Indian guy that's interested in me at the moment. But, you know, he says he can live without sex. Really? Can he? Do you know what I mean? I mean, even, you know, I experience high levels of arousal, even though I'm asexual. I can't help it. And by the time, you know, even through kissing someone, if someone kisses me, I know they get aroused by me. Like this guy who was at the place, who was sexual at the place where I dance, you know, he said that he said to me, he said, I wouldn't have known you're asexual, and I got turned on just by you dancing. Like, you know what I mean? I don't even have to do anything. I'm only being myself, but I do quite sexy dancing sometimes. But I wasn't really dancing that sexily initially. I don't think I wasn't dancing sexily with him anyway, you know? It's like, I was probably dancing a bit sexily, you know, in my mannerisms, but, you know, it's kind of like, it's just like all weird, you know. But the point is, you have to be proactive. So I've been on asexual dating sites now for 4 years. Haven't found a suitable asexual guy in there. To be honest, a lot of them I'm not even aesthetically attracted to. Probably because a lot of them on ace-book.net, for example, a lot of them are British. And I have British asexual friends, don't get me wrong, and some of them are really lovely and they're looking for a relationship, but we're not each other's type. You know, I'm not even their type either. You know, not for a relationship. So it's kind of two ways. But it's nice to have asexual friends in the UK. It's nice to have guy friends. And I do want to make more asexual friends as well. It's really important. Because I think for me, I've found that them being fine having a relationship free of sex is fine for about 2 weeks. Hi, Felicity. Yeah. I know, I mean, not this guy says he can live without sex forever, but I doubt it, you know. I really would love to believe him, but, you know, it's just like, really? I mean, asexuals on the more sexual end of the spectrum, which is what I usually attract, or those that are not really asexual at all, or heterosexuals, of course, you know, they get turned on by me just kissing them in the first 5 minutes. They want, you know, like, if they're heterosexual, they want sex with me in the first 5 minutes. If they're asexual, I just talk about kissing with them, it turns them on, even though they're asexual. You know, they you know, it just does. Even though they're asexual, you know, they get quite horny over it, even if they don't want sex with me. It's kind of like, do you know what I mean? It's kind of like I haven't really got a hope in heck's chance, really, have I? But I don't want to put down on things, because I'm a heteromantic through and through, but I do have the grey area of kissing, and I get aroused through kissing myself. And it's kind of hard because I don't experience a sexual attraction, so I never ever want sex. But I do experience arousal, and I kind of make sexual noises and stuff, but I can't help it. It's just the way it is for me. And that's really, you know, difficult for me, because I'm just too... Like most heteromantic asexuals, it's just too much sexual behaviour. And those on the more sexual end of the spectrum, like the grey asexuals and demisexuals, they're too sexual for me. I can't, you know, they want to touch my breasts and stuff, and I'm just not into that. You know, I don't like that. It's like, please, this is my body. If I want to touch it, I'll do so, but I don't want your hands all over it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I just don't like it. I mean, in the past, I might have done that with my ex, like let him do stuff like that. But it's kind of like, you know, 2011 is the last time I had sex. And it's like, thank God I don't have to have it ever again in my life. 7 years I've been free of it, and I'd rather not have it again, you know. But I think it's really difficult. Excuse me. As I was discussing it with my mum today, and I was saying about foreign guys, and she was saying, oh, I said, oh, I really, wish there was a way I could, a foreign guy could come over here, because all the guys that like me are foreign, they're not even in this country. And I'm like, my mum's kind of saying about it being desperate about, trying to get guys over here. And I said, it's not like that. It's just that I don't get attracted to British guys. And the majority of guys who are foreign in the UK, either they're homoromantic or we're not matched, And I said, I can be happily single for the rest of my life, It's just like, as an asexual, I was trying to explain to her that I still like kissing and cuddling. I said, you have my dad, you've been with my dad for 50 years next year, married. I don't want marriage. But, I said, as an asexual, I still want kissing and cuddling. I still miss that human connection with someone. I still like that sometimes, even though I like being single and I'm used to living on my own and stuff, So it's not about like desperation. I mean, I don't have to have anyone, but it's just kind of like, I only get attracted to foreign guys enough to want to kiss them and be in a relationship with them. I can't help that. And, I've been trying for 4 years, and I'm still going to keep trying to find my asexual soulmate, who I know is foreign, but it's just like taking ages. And I don't mind doing that. I'll wait. But, it's just a bit insensitive of her, I've had this in the past, even before I was asexual, It's kind of like, no, I personally don't feel I have a need for a relationship. I am open to having one, but not for the sake of having one. Yeah. Well, I don't need to be. I mean, I've been single for over 4 years, and actually I get relationship anxiety. So for me, being in a relationship is big trouble for me. A lot of the time I want to run away. Like I like the idea of a relationship, but when it comes to the actual someone wanting one with me for real and being serious about it, I kind of want to run away. Yeah, because I've been single for over 4 years and my past relationships haven't gone well. So, I've never had a good relationship in my life, but I know what one looks like now more because I do watch a lot of dating, watch a lot of dating coaches and stuff like that. But obviously that's geared towards alpha heterosexual males, most of it. So that's not so good from that point of view. But, it's kind of really difficult, I think. It's just like, lately I've wanted that connection and the cuddling more and hugging. So by going out dancing, like a few weeks ago, I danced with an Indian guy and we didn't, I danced quite sexily with him actually, but I was getting like the cuddling, the closeness out of it. Like because he was Indian, I could put my arms around him. I could be really close to him. I didn't kiss him. I didn't actually want to kiss him actually. And I told him in the beginning, I just want to be with friends. So he knew it wasn't getting sex and it was great. He didn't even try to turn me into that. At the end, he gave me some hugs and said, you're an amazing dancer. Are you coming back next week? And I said, well, I don't know if I'm busy. Then he repeated it. And so I said the same thing. And that was about it. And, he was kind of getting a thrill out of me dancing, but I was enjoying the closeness of just having my arms around him and stuff like that. And I kind of like, I missed, sometimes I miss that, I miss the closeness of someone in close, other times I can't, like the guy this week, I couldn't stand, being too close to him. I needed body space because he wasn't Indian. He's got a beard and I can't be aesthetically attracted to a guy with a beard. I can only be physically close to someone I'm aesthetically attracted to. And so, I did give him a hug in the end, but that was like, I said, that's the closest I can get to you. That's it. I can't kiss you or anything. I don't want to. And so, it's kind of like hard for me because after sort of 4 years, I'm kind of like, I haven't been in a proper relationship since 2011, but I've been looking for my asexual soulmate for 4 years. So it's kind of like, I've been single for a long time, as you can tell. I've lived on my own for 14 years, actually, 4 years. So I'm perfectly happy living on my own. I don't need to live with anyone. But it's kind of like lately I've missed that human connection and in-person warmth, but more than friendship lately. So, with my friends, I hug and say hello, goodbye, but it's not the same as being really, really close to someone. And I kind of miss that lately, And, so, I was watching this, I was reading up this post about when you do a certain thing, it could be because something else is lacking. And I kind of like was racking my brains and I'm thinking, I think I miss that in-person warmth and connection with someone. And I mostly get on better with guys anyway, to be honest. So most of my friends are guys, but not all. And this dancing place, I love it because I'm really young, and a lot of my friends, you know, like even my female friends, a lot of them are older than me. Actually, my male friends tend to be younger than me, but my sort of the age, you know, that I'm interested in. But you know, my female friends tend to be older, and they like different stuff to me. I want to go out and live a young life, you know, while I'm still happy, free, and single to do it. Woohoo! So as well, this video is not just about dating relationships, it's about friendships. And, you know, I think it's really important to be proactive if you want asexual friendships as well. And that means, you know, when you're in Facebook groups, you know, making asexual friends, you know, like noting things you have in common on posts that people write, and then private messaging them on Facebook to say, hey, I saw your post, I see you like so-and-so, I like that too, and starting a conversation. You know, because some people, they find it difficult to make asexual friends online, and they're like, they don't know how to go about it. But, you know, it's all about using open questions, you know, saying, oh, hi, I saw that, you know, and then asking them open questions like, so say someone likes photography. So you could say to them, well, you know, what type of photography are you into? You know, show me some pictures. And people love talking about themselves, you know. The more you talk to someone about themselves, usually the more they want to talk. So if you're introvert particularly, a good way of communicating and making friends is to actually get other people to open up about themselves. Therefore, if you're quite shy, you don't really need to talk about yourself as much, but you can ask them a lot about themselves, and that can start you in turn wanting to talk about yourself more. So, but it's all about being proactive or in asexual groups and on asexual forums as well, and making friends that way, and posting comments and not just being like a spectator. You know, so many people are spectating, they're not actually proactively messaging people or, you know, taking part in discussions and things like that. And that's so important. You know, and asexuality, you know, people that are asexual can get quite lonely because they may not have any people that understand them or relate to them. And the best way to get those people is to reach out, you know, be in Facebook asexual groups, be on asexual, some of the asexual dating sites. They're not, people don't just go on them for dating, like asexuality.com. You do have to pay a fee for that one. I think was $15 a year. I don't know if it's recently gone up. But, you know, a lot of people on there are looking for friendship, not just relationship. And ace-book.net, you know, you can write your own blogs on there. You can make friends. You can see someone's blog post and think, oh, I can relate to that. And then you can message someone about the blog that they wrote. And, you know, there's lots of different types of ways you can get into conversation with people. But and obviously asexual meetups are so important. You know, if you haven't got an asexual meetup near you, save up the money to go to an asexual meetup. You know, that's further afield, and, you know, book a hotel, book the transport, you know, and have a, you know, if it's a city you've never explored before, go and explore the city on your own if you want for a bit before you go to the meetup. I know it's quite daunting meeting new people. I run asexual meetups in the UK, and I try and be as accommodating as possible, and I'm really good with people with special needs and mental health problems as well. I've had mental health problems in the past myself, particularly depression. I freed myself in 2012, and I do still have some anxiety sometimes, although it's I manage it really well now. But the most of the time, the majority of the time, I only get anxiety pretty much to do with asexual relationships, which goes, like, my ideology is I'd love to be in an asexual relationship, but the problem is I get anxious over it. So yeah, but I don't know what the future will hold, you know. Maybe I'll be single all my life, but I'm hugely romantic. But yeah, so going back to what I was saying before as well about dating relationships, there's quite a lot of asexuals that, you know, they say they want a relationship, but they're not prepared to travel or to move to meet someone. And, you know, people have to be prepared to move or to find someone who will move. People have to be prepared to get out of their city. Like I was saying earlier, that I know one guy who is asexual in my city, but we're both, you know, looking for someone in a relationship, but we're not suited to each other. But there is another guy as well who lives an hour and a half outside of my city that me and my friend who lives in the city met up with recently, and he's absolutely adorable. But he leans more towards guys than females. I don't get attracted that much to British guys, but I thought for a British guy, he's very cute. You know, very sweet, lovely person that he doesn't realise how lovely he is though. But and so but it's a friend I can have. I can go to him places, because I said, have you been to the aquarium, because he got fish socks on. It was so sweet. His socks were little fishies. I thought it was so nice. And he said, oh, no, I don't get out of the house much. And so I said, we can go to Plymouth Aquarium together sometime if you want. He said, yeah, but he's coming to my next meetup for lunch, which will be great, because on my next asexual meetup, we're all going to meet for lunch and food, and then 4 of us later on are going gaming, VR gaming, virtual reality gaming is going to be amazing. So, you must try and get yourself off to meetups. And if something's like really out of reach, try and save up for it to go on a train or a bus and get accommodation. So it's really important to meet other asexuals. I was saying this in the forum, people are like, oh, I can't find a relationship or anyone suitable. But you have to put yourself out there, you have to get out of your comfort zone, and it's really, really important. I told them, I said, I have an asexual friend, and he went to a meetup in the UK, throughout the UK, for 3 months solidly. Sorry, I think I've got a lag on my YouTube channel. Sorry about that. I can see myself lagging. I don't mean to. I think it's just my Wi-Fi connection's quite lame here. It's like 2 megabytes or something. Half the time I'm surprised I can even do live streams. But anyway, my friend, he's asexual, right? And he went to asexual meetups throughout the whole of the UK for about 3 months solid. And he met the asexual woman of his dreams, because he was prepared to travel. He got in his car, a car, I think it was, every single week. I think it was every weekend for like 3 months non-stop. And he was prepared to travel to meet the woman of his dreams. And now, last month, he got engaged to her. He met the woman of his dreams. He lives in London. I think she lives in Bath. Well, he met her at a Bath meetup, and that's quite a distance apart. I think it's a couple of hours. And I'm not very good at geography, though, so don't quote me on that. But, it's just like incredible. He met her, and they've just got engaged last month. It was 24th of July, 2018. And I was just like so happy for him and her. I mean, I don't know her really. I know him, but I know he's one of the best asexual guys in this world I know, from the point of view he's totally dedicated to his woman, 100%. He's monogamous, and I'm a monogamous person, and I really respect him. And he's always, speaking highly of his woman all the time, like, me and my darling, me and my love, me and my angel, we're eating this, we're doing that, we're going to this place together. And he's always posting pictures of them together. He's so dedicated to her, so in love with her. And he's always got his smile on his face since he's been with her. I cannot tell you how amazing that feels for me to just see him so happy, because I know he's romantic. He was looking for someone that was suitable for him, someone who'd go traveling with him and he'd get on really well with. And because he's got an apartment he lives in London, but he's also got an apartment in Spain, and he wanted someone he could go out there with, and someone he could just love and treasure forever. And he's found her, and I knew as soon as he found the right girl for him, as soon as he found the right asexual girl for him, that he would be with her for life. And I'm so happy. I know he's one of the very rare gems in this world, where he is what he says on the tin. You get a lot of people, not just sexuals but asexuals too, who try and impress you, and they say things to get your attention. And even a lot of asexual, I'm a heteromantic, so I'm only attracted to guys. Even the heteromantic guys, some of them, they just after lots of women all the time. They're messaging around. I mean, to be fair, he did like a lot of girls, in the sense he found them pretty and liked talking to a lot of girls. But I did say to him, you need to narrow down what you really want, because easy out of all these girls that you like, are they actually what you want in terms of activities to do? And it's like, oh, kind of not very much, some of them. But yeah, so he just kept going around meetups and found the woman that was right for him, the girl that was right for him. And I'm just so happy for him. And it's just nice to know there are a few decent people in the world who actually are monogamous, because I'm monogamous, right? Obviously, if you're poly, this won't really apply to you, but I'm monogamous. So it was really good to see someone who's monogamous, who's dedicated to his woman, who's not afraid to show the world that he's with her, and not afraid to not show her off in a vain, arrogant, like she's my trophy doll way. Show her off as in, I'm so proud to be with her. She's my love. She's my darling. She's amazing. And I love that type of guy. I love those qualities in a guy. I hope that one day I can get those qualities in a guy, because it's something I value dearly. And, you know, I know how hard it is to come by that type of person. It really is difficult. You know, some people, they're in relationships, they don't even put on their Facebook they're with anyone. They act like they're single. I hate that. It's like, you may as well stay single then. Do you know what I mean? I know some people are private, but still, you know, they could even put they're in a relationship, even if they don't want to put who with. Not that they should mind putting who with, but do you know what I mean? And they just don't. They make out they're single when they're not. And, you know, I've had people actually enter in my asexual dating groups as well that are with a partner and they're still coming in my dating groups. And some of them are poly, but some of them aren't. They're monogamous. I'm like, you've already got a partner. What are you doing in this group? This is to find a serious and committed relationship with another asexual. Are you poly? And if they're no, like, oh, I just wanted to join another asexual group. Well, I'm sorry, but if it says clearly this is an asexual dating group, for those who want a serious and committed relationship, if they're monogamous, they shouldn't be doing that, in my opinion. But I've got very strong values and beliefs around this type of thing, you know. I've got an asexual friends group, so it's not like I don't have a group for friends only. They can be in that group for as long as they want, and they can, you know, speak to whoever they want and make lots of friends. So I purposely have another group to cater for those who just want friends, you know. Particularly a lot of aromantics just want friends. There are a few aromantics though in my dating group because they want a platonic relationship. They don't, you know, they like their single life, but they do actually want to be in a platonic relationship. So it doesn't, you know, follow that just because they're aromantic asexual. I'm talking about aromantic asexuals here, not aromantic sexuals, because I only run my groups for asexuals, you know. You know, sometimes they want to be in a platonic relationship and they do seek that out. So it's not a given that just because they're aromantic asexual, they don't want to be in a dating group. But, you know, for those of them that are, you know, I'm thinking, for some of them, I'm looking at them thinking, well, you've got a wonderful partner by the look of it. You look really happy. Why on earth are you coming in asexual dating groups, you know, where we're talking about trying to get a relationship with someone all the time? Do you see my point? It's just like very dishonest in my opinion. And sadly, I think there's quite a lot of people that aren't honest in relationships these days. I think it's very difficult to find that. But I think the best thing is to be friends with the person first. Be friends as much as you possibly can be. Because friendship is the foundation of any good relationship. And that means you're going to have to make quite a lot of friends, like asexual friends, to find the right asexual person for you as well, if you want to pursue a relationship. So fundamentally, the best thing is to make a lot of asexual friends, as many as possible, with things you've got things in common with, common interests, but be proactive about it, you know. Go and message them first. Go and keep the conversation going. Obviously, if the other person's not complying and keeping the conversation going backwards and forwards, then don't bother, you know. Don't spend and waste your time on them if they're not going to put effort and time into you. Because you can end up doing that and then it becomes very one-sided. I've done that in the past and it's horrible. But it shouldn't stop you being proactive. You should just think, okay, this person's obviously going to just keep being reactive. They're not putting effort into me, so I'm going to move on. So you have to be a bit ruthless as well. You have to understand that you may get rejected, you know. I run, you know, 5 asexual groups, 2 of which are, no, 3 now, which are dating groups, because I took over the UK Asexuality support group and made that into a dating group as well as support group. So I run 3 asexual dating groups. I run an asexual friends group and I also run an asexual business group. So I run a lot of groups and I'm in a ton of other groups, you know, and you've got to be proactive. And I think the best way of, you know, whatever stage you're at, if you just want friendship, then be proactive and make friends, you know, put yourself out there. But, you know, even going to asexual meetups, I've made the majority of my asexual friends through my asexual meetups. You know, if you can't go to other people's meetups, think about starting one of your own. You see, I only have public transport. Sorry, I don't drive. So, and you know, at the moment I'm technically redundant from a job, although I still sell a few books and t-shirts, you know, on Amazon. Redbubble t-shirts as well, because I don't know if you saw this. This is my asexual, one of my asexual designs. Everything is coming up aces from Redbubble. I think it's on Amazon.com as well. Yeah. So, but I think there's a different variation of it on there. But, you know, so, but technically I'm not working at the moment, but I have asexuals come to me, you know. I hold meetups every 2 or 3 months in my city. And, you know, if you can't get to move to other people or travel, then try organising a meetup yourself. And there is a video from the UK Asexuality conference, it's a little while ago now, that, you know, was my talk on how to arrange an asexual meetup. And that's complete beginners can do that. And, you know, you can go and find that and watch it all. It's like a 15-minute talk of mine that was at UK Asexuality conference. You know, that includes Q&A at the end as well. So go and watch that. You know, that's what I'm saying to some people on asexual dating sites. You know, if you can't find a meetup group or you don't want to travel, go and get people to you. You know, people like and trust me, luckily, so I get people coming from all over the UK. I mean, one of the guys who's in the UK, he lives in Worcester, and Exeter, where I live, my city, is 4 hours away, like public transport, you know? And he comes every single meet. One meet he's missed, and that's because he was severely sick. I mean, really sick. You know, but he comes to every meetup usually that I do. And he has, you know, he has some mental health problems. But it doesn't matter. He goes on a train, still comes to see me. You know, that's called making an effort. So when people go, you know, people that haven't really got any issues and, you know, or people that are moaning and saying they can't find anyone or reach anyone, I don't have as much sympathy when I think people with mental health difficulties, you know, it's really hard for them sometimes. They still come to my meetups. They still travel. You know, I've had students. I had a student that spent 11 hours on a coach to come to one of my asexual meetups. That was just one way. And he was a student with 2 part-time jobs and full-time study. You know, and it was miles away. He lived in Newcastle. 11 hours on a coach is like probably too much for most of us, to be honest. But he did it because he wanted to come to a meetup and meet other asexuals. I got a friend from Hertfordshire. He comes to meetups. He'll be coming to every meetup. You know, he's my new BFF from last month. You know, but the majority of times that I make friends, they come to my meetups. That's how I make the friends. And I can tell that they're really good people. Then I can get a good gauge of what they're really like. And I've made some best friends ever through my asexual meetups. You know, one guy, though, who watches this channel a lot, Martin, I made friends with him online. I think he was one of the first people to ever start watching this YouTube channel. And we've been friends for over 2 years. And we, you know, and this year we met before the Asexuality conference. We actually went in the same hotel, had separate rooms, of course, because we're just friends. And, you know, that's the first time I spent 3 whole days with him. The day before the conference, the day after the conference, the day of the conference. And it was amazing. And we only Skyped a couple of times. Well, we Skyped once, like 2 years prior to that. And then before the Asexuality conference, I think we Skyped, like, was it 3 times or something? But it was just amazing. We got on so well. And, you know, I've got a friend for life there. I know that about him. You know, and he lives miles away. But London was a place that we could both meet up together, if you like. So it was really good. Thank you for the thumbs up. I really appreciate it. So if you've got any questions about anything I said, any comments or anything like that, I'd be happy to answer them. I've been talking for quite a while now, so if there's anything else you'd like to know, please drop it in the comments below before I go. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off for tonight. Thank you so much for watching. This has been like day 19 of my live stream marathon for the whole of August. So I'm really loving doing these live streams. It's really nice to talk to you in person and obviously answer any questions you might have right here, right now. Or if you have questions later on, you can just pop them in the comments. When will you be having your next meetup? My next meetup, Felicity, is on Saturday, the 8th of September. It's in the UK. We're meeting up at 1 p.m. for lunch and food and drink, which is at St George's meeting place in Exeter, which is South Street. And then 4 of us later on are doing virtual reality gaming, and we've got to leave the pub, which is a Wetherspoons. St George's meeting place is a Wetherspoons. So it's kind of got the good thing about St George's meeting place, and why I picked that as a venue, is because it's on 2 floors. The floors upstairs tend to be quite quiet. Most of the asexuals are introverts, not extroverts. So they can go upstairs and they can order from an app food to their table, which they usually always do. Like, I've got food allergies, so I don't do that. I go to the bar and I'm an extrovert. I'm about the only extrovert usually there. But they can order the food through an app, and you know, you can get a food and a drink for like less than £5. I don't know if you live in the UK or USA, but you know, less than £5 is great. Like, you can get a burger, chips, and vegetables and a drink for, salad it is. But I changed the menu. I've got special diet requirements. So I pay like £5.25 and I get plain chicken breast with peas, lettuce, onion and jacket potato, all for £5.25, which is amazing value. And I get it's a little bit more because I have a pint of pineapple juice with it. It's just incredible value because to buy a drink on its own is like £2 or £3. So I just love it. So we all meet up on Saturday the 8th of September and we all have the food and the drink at 1 o'clock. And then 4 of us are doing virtual reality gaming, which I've had to pre-book. So it doesn't cost me anything, but it cost me my time because I had to go around the venue, check what's happening. So basically, the virtual reality gaming, they only have 3 headsets can be used at one time, and it's like £15 an hour, which is I thought was quite good. But so 2 of the headsets are what they call multiplayer, so you can play against each other or separate, and you've got like I think 200 games to choose from. So virtual reality game, if you're not sure, is where that you put the headset on and you have handheld controls, and it's like you're actually in the scene, like in the game itself. So you could be, for example, in a circus, and you're actually a clown or something. You're participating as a person who watches the circus, or you could be in the circus. There's things like you can battle robots. I love robots, so I might go for something like that, And your hands, like your controls are the guns, and you're banging, going boom, 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 boom. What I did is I went and vetted the place before. Obviously, Asexuals are going to go there because I like to check everything out for everyone, and it's in the city centre, so it's good. And I stood there watching for ages because you can see on the screen what people are doing, and you can see the games, and they had like what did they have? They had like one with robots this girl was doing, and they had another one which was like a fun fair where they had candy floss and everything, and he was telling her what to do, pick different menu options and where to go, which was quite fun because like they can get the big bouncy balls come at them and all that type of thing. And that was really good fun. So yeah, but you have to, so the 3 headsets, so 2 are multiplayer, which means you can play against each other or just have them separately, but you can have loads of different games. And there's one that's racing car only. So unless you're into racing cars and want to spend half an hour or an hour or whatever racing on a racing car, then you need to have one of the other 2 headsets. So there's 4 of us going to that. So we've got to split into 2 people for an hour, then the other 2 people for an hour, and the other people can go back to or stay in the pub and swap over, or we can watch each other. Which, seeing as there's only 4 of us, we might watch each other. There was more people interested in the virtual reality gaming, but they couldn't commit to definitely coming. And I have to have definite numbers for the booking. So the people that are coming, they're all travelling. There's me, and the other 3 people are all travelling. So they're definitely coming. One guy's coming just for the day from Oxford. And we met at the Asexuality conference. And he's become a really good friend. I'm really looking forward to meeting him. He's actually foreign, but aromantic, so obviously not interested in me romantically. But we've become really good friends, and we have nice chats, and he watches this channel. So it's really good. Like I say, it's all about putting yourself out there and travelling and meeting people and, and being a bit brave about it. And so, yeah, so when we meet for lunch, there's more of us. So there's 4 of us doing the gaming. So far, there's another 2 people should be coming for lunch. So there'll be 6 of us for lunch. And so not everyone wants to do the VR gaming, or not everyone can afford it, or not everyone, can commit to it. So I had to get definite numbers. So, yeah, but we're all meeting for lunch and anyone else can come. But it's good to keep the virtual reality gaming to low numbers anyway, because it's not something I've done before in a meetup. The time before what I did, we went to underground passages before in Exeter, which is like these, under Exeter, there's like these passages. So it's like all rocks and stuff. So if you're claustrophobic, it's not very good. One guy, bless him, he was getting very sweaty. Like he's quite a macho guy. He's asexual, demisexual. So he's on the asexual spectrum, because everyone on the asexual spectrum is welcome. I don't have any people that are not asexual come to my meetups, but anyone on the spectrum is welcome. So it includes demisexuals and grey asexuals too. And bless him, he's quite macho guy. He comes across a little bit posh, actually. He's in one of my groups. And it was so funny, he was sweating. And I was like, I was worried about him because I could hear this breathing noises, like he was getting a bit... And afterwards, I'm like, are you okay? He's like, oh, yeah, of course I'm okay. I said, well, to be honest, I was a bit worried about you because you did look a bit like you were suffering a bit of claustrophobia or something, and you look like you were getting a bit panicky there or something. And he's like, oh, well, maybe a little bit, because guys still don't like to admit these things, really, do they? Bless his heart. he actually was interested in me relationship wise, but he's British and older, and I just can't be attracted to British and older guys. I just can't be. So, you know, and I'm definitely not demisexual. I can't be doing with that. I can't be having sex and sex repulse these days. So that wasn't suitable for me. But yeah, but obviously as a friend, he's fine. And, we had a great time, I think, majority of us, apart from like him being a bit sweaty, but he knew that where it was going to be. And we were it's quite funny though, that the guy who's the guide, he kept going on ahead in the passages, and because they're so small, you've got hard hats on, by the way, to protect you. Because they're so small, he's there talking around the corner, and you're like, what's going on? But you're kind of having fun building rapport with the other asexuals, because you're all in this together. You're kind of like a bit squished down there, and you kind of like appreciate. And this guy was talking about something that had happened to the passage bit, round the corner, or something that had happened years ago. And he was trying to explain something, but we were kind of laughing together because we weren't round the corner to see it. So it's kind of like, well, that's great, but you're quite hard to hear. And his voice was quite funny as well, sometimes. But we had a right laugh. And then time before that, I think, was we went to the museum in Exeter. So, I try and do different things, but I have food first. So on these two, like the underground passages and the museum, I meet people for food first. So some people, they just come for like 2 hours to eat and drink and chat and meet other asexuals, and then they'll go off for the day and do their own thing. So, I think it's good because that way people get to meet and mingle and chat with each other and get to come along. But those who feel that they, a couple of hours is enough for them, especially, some introverts need just more, to only be a certain amount of time around people. I'm extrovert, so I get energy from people and I have a lot of energy naturally. But some introverts, they get drained of energy if they're around people too long. So, some introverts might prefer to just be there a couple of hours. But that's good. They can still get to meet asexuals, still get to make friends or whatever. And it's really good for them. So, yeah, that's what we're doing. And so, but having said that, the people that are travelling, 2 of them will be coming the night before. So my meetups tend to go on, for me, they tend to go on for 3 or 4 days. So I'll meet the 2 asexual guys the day before on the Friday. They get there, I think one comes in at 1:45. I'll pick them up from the train station. Because I don't drive, I have to pick people up on foot. And then the other guy, I think he gets there at 3 something. So he'll meet me and my other friend, because we're all friends now. He'll meet me and my other friend who comes on the train at 1:45. He'll meet me and him at the pub nearest the train station, which is a Wetherspoons. And it just caters for everyone there. You don't have to drink, because I don't drink alcohol. So there's soft drinks there. There's herbal teas. There's obviously alcohol for people like that. They cater for vegetarians as well, because a guy who comes from Worcester, he's vegetarian. So they do vegetarian options as well. It's not all meat. So that's why I go there. It's kind of like caters for the majority of people, which is really good, because it's important when I hold meetups that I cater for anyone, as many people as possible. I like to be very inclusive of all across the spectrum, and also of food allergies and intolerances, because I've got loads myself, to be honest. And if they're vegetarian or vegan or special diet themselves, it's really important that I understand their needs before they come. And with people with special needs or mental health difficulties, I tend to a lot of the time understand them really well, because I've had problems myself, issues in the past with depression, and then I've still got some anxiety, but I've recovered a lot from a lot of anxiety stuff. But I understand them well, so I'll tend to pick them up from like their train, the hotel, or wherever they feel comfortable, whatever they want, so that they don't feel like they're going into a situation which is apprehensive for them. So like, for example, I'm the one guy that lives outside of Exeter, I'm meeting him with another guy from the bus station on a Saturday. And the guy who lives outside of Exeter, he came just for a meet up with me and Keith before, because being a bigger meet up was too much for him. So he met me and Keith first, and then he's coming to this other meet up just for lunch, not the gaming. So that will be a bigger step up for him, but he'll love it. It's really good for him to get out. And I think some of the problems in his life is because he's had no one to relate to. So him coming to the meetups is going to be a wonderful experience for him. And I think he enjoyed, obviously, the last one, because he's come just with me and Keith, because he's come again to this one. I'm really glad about that. He's a really nice guy and deserves to know how lovely he is. He really does, and deserves to be around like-minded people who really value him and care about him for, who he is. I think that's why it's good to go to meetups and get out of your comfort zone, because the in-person contact you get and the support is just incredible. I cannot tell you how good it feels, that in-person sport. Like, you know, and it's good for me because I do like, you know, I am an extrovert and I do like that human contact, you know, even as friends. It's just really important for having people who understand you, who can relate to you, who can really get you. Because, you know, a lot of sexuals, I have sexual friends, you know, but a lot of them don't really get asexuality as its fundamental core, and you know, they don't understand how it is for us as much as they might try and understand. For a lot of them it's really difficult, or you know, they might not want to put a label on it. Well, if I want to label myself as asexual because I am actually asexual, then you know, that's the way I am. But some of them find it difficult, and you know, it's just so nice being around asexuals who just chat. We don't talk about asexuality all the time, excuse me. We talk about a ton of stuff. We talk about hobbies, interests, jobs. We do talk about asexuality sometimes, though. I mean, there's one girl who came to my meetup, one woman, and she you know, was asking us, or well, asking me over lunch, like, well, to the table. She's saying she's got this guy who isn't asexual, but they're best friends, have been best friends for years, and she wants a relationship with him. He's heterosexual. Like, how could it work? I'm very, very outspoken, by the way. If you're new to this channel, I don't know if you are, if you heard me before, I'm very explicitly outspoken. And this was over lunch, so I was saying to her that, you know, if you're sex repulsed, which she says she was, then I said, you know, the only thing you can do is think if you want to do any other things, like have oral sex or masturbate him or stuff, or otherwise he needs to masturbate himself if you want a monogamous relationship, you know, if you don't want poly, which I don't think she did. And I don't think he would have wanted that by the sound of it, because they sound like they were best friends. But she was really worried about it. And I was actually a bit worried for her, because I know a lot of sexuals, they can't live without sex. I think it's sad they can't, but I understand why they can't. But I just, you know, if a sexual, by the same token, if a sexual person says they can live without sex, they have the right to change their mind, just like you have the right to change your mind about anything you do and do not like. But having said that, you know, if they go into that with their eyes wide open, that you're asexual, you don't like sex, and they say they can do that with, you know, be with you without sex, and they can be monogamous, then yeah, if they go and get their sex elsewhere, they're cheating on you, because they've already given you their word that they're not going to do that. They either have to decide, well, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, I can't live without it, or they you know, they need to accept you for who you are. I was saying, you know, I was trying to say that, you know, some people are like, oh, you can't deprive, you know, some asexuals say, oh, you can't deprive a sexual of their sex. It's not fair. But we cannot help our sexual orientation, which is the lack of sexual attraction. We can't help that just as much as they can't help their own. So just as much as some asexuals are willing to have sex with someone for the sake of their partner, surely they should be equality, where some sexuals would go without sex for the sake of their partner, you know? We can't help the fact that we don't want sex, you know, asexuals that don't want sex. We can't help the fact we don't get the need, urge, or want for partnered sexual intercourse. But we can certainly love in a lot of other ways, you know. We can love intellectually, we can love romantically, we can give them a huge emotional connection that they might not get in a sexual to sexual relationship. I tend to feel that asexuals, you know, we can form this really strong, deep emotional bond that, from my prior experience of being in sexual relationships, the sexual relationships seem a lot more artificial to me. They don't seem to be focused on this deep emotional connection. Like, I know, you know, even if we're not demisexual, demi-romantic, that need a strong emotional connection to form that bond, I think, you know, the way asexuals love in generally, especially the more romantics, is for deep emotional connection. But even as an aromantic asexual, you know, I think the way you form friendships is because you have these sort of deep emotional connections to people. I think emotional connection is everything to an asexual in terms of friendships and relationships. And I think the deeper the emotional connection, the more friendship you feel for someone, or the more love you feel for someone. And I've mentioned in a previous video before that, you know, I found out that even in heterosexual relationships, for example, a lot of them fail not just because of the lack of sex. Actually, they can fail because of the emotional connection's gone, or they never really had that deep emotional connection in the first place, and they've got that from someone else, someone who understands them on that deep emotional connection level. So yeah, I hope that's answered your question. But basically, these two guys I'm going to meet up on the Friday. But also, so the meet is on the 8th, but I'm meeting two of the guys on the 7th. One's coming by coach on the 8th for the day, but he's not going back to like 1 something in the morning. So I'll be with him all day as well as the others. And then on Sunday, some of us are meeting up. The people that are staying over are actually staying over Saturday night to Sunday as well. So the two guys I'll be seeing on Sunday as well. So we'll be having another meet up, as it were. And probably the guy who lives in my city, he might be coming to that as well, because he's going to another meet up on the Saturday. You've overbooked. But you might come to the Sunday one, depending on if he's too tired when he gets back. And then one of the guys, the guy from Hertfordshire, who's like my BFF, he is staying over on the Monday, it's Sunday night to Monday as well. So I get 4 days with him. So my asexual meetups, to everyone goes on for a whole day on the Saturday, but for me goes on for 3 or 4 days. Do you know what I mean? And I just love it. It's just so nice, and especially with Sam, who lives in Hertfordshire, which is quite a long way away from me. He's pan-romantic, right? So he can get attracted to any gender. He's not attracted to everyone within every gender, but he can be attracted to any gender. But he has a preference aesthetically for males, and we've had the conversation before that although we're both looking for a relationship, I'm too much like a woman for him, and too much female for him, and also he's not into kissing and I am. And I'm into foreign guys usually, and he's British. And he likes some of the same guys as me, though. It's so funny. When we chat, like, I like foreign guys. He doesn't mind if they're foreign or British, but he gets attracted to a lot of the same foreign guys as me. When I point him out, he goes, oh, yeah, he's nice looking. And he jokes, right? It's really funny. He said, what we could do with it is a homo-romantic foreign guy for him and a heteromantic foreign guy for me, like twins, so we can all go out together in a group of 4 people. I think that's so funny. But my friend Sam, yeah, he's amazing as well, because he's naked repulsed like me. And to be fair, not many asexuals are actually naked repulsed. There's quite a number of us that are sex repulsed, but not naked repulsed. I'm naked repulsed and sex repulsed, so I'm both of them. And to actually meet him at the last meetup, after 3 days with each other, well, I think it was 4 actually, because he saved the money as well, like we were like best friends like by the 4th day. And I just really trust him because he's got the exact same boundaries in relationships as me, and friendships. So for example, he won't cuddle his friends, he will only hug them, but in a relationship he would have cuddling and kissing, which is what I'm like. And he's naked repulsed. He said he actually was with someone in a relationship for 3 years who happened to have the same first name as me, so she was female. She actually looked female in my opinion anyway, but which was funny. But yeah, but he was with her for 3 years, and that person never saw him naked. And it was just so nice to have someone who I could relate to, who could relate to me. It's just amazing. Because there's not many asexuals that naked repulse, and most people just don't get it. Most people think the naked body is beautiful and natural, and I just don't think that way at all. It's not. I don't think it's natural. I think it's natural to look at it yourself, but if you want to, but I don't think it's natural for other people to look at other people's bodies. I just kind of think that's quite private. Do you know what I mean? I didn't always be like, I wasn't always like that, in the sense, I've always been naked repulsed, but with my ex, I used to let him see me naked, but sometimes I didn't mind him touching me in certain places at certain times and certain circumstances, and others I just wouldn't like it, and I wished he'd get away from me. So that's why it's really difficult when you haven't been in a relationship for years. It's kind of hard to know exactly what you like and what you don't like, but going by what I think I like or know I like at the moment is I don't want any nudity, but I can stand a guy's chest. Like if a guy's got a naked chest, I can cope with that. If he's got no hair on his chest, I love it. But if he's got hair on his chest, I don't like it as much, because I love to kiss a guy's chest actually if it's hairless. But if it's got hair on there, it really puts me off. This is like kissing a hair in your mouth. Do you know what I mean? It's not particularly attractive. I tend to prefer younger guys as well, in their 20s. So older guys' body I'm not really used to, because every guy I've ever liked for like the last several years, they've just been younger and nice younger, like in their 20s rather than 30s, for example. Apart from the guy I dated last year, he was heterosexual. 2 months I dated him for. He was a nightmare in the end. He was a psycho, but he had a hairless chest, which I actually loved about him. But yeah, so I hope that's answered your question about meetups, about some of the stuff we get up to and do. And you know, talk about and things. Have you got any other questions that you want me to answer for you? You know, you can always reach out to me, asexualise@gmail.com, if you're in the UK or ever traveling over here and want to come to one. I hold them back every 2 or 3 months. One of my biromantic friends, actually, he might be coming over to the UK to study. So he said, oh, I'm hoping to meet up with you, Sandra. Well, that'd be really nice. And also, you know, hopefully you can come to some of my meetups as well, so you can meet other asexuals. So just because if you don't live in the UK doesn't mean to say you can't come to a future meet if you're ever in the UK. And if I know someone's coming, I kind of like might arrange one anyway, if I know you're coming at a certain time, just so that you can meet other asexuals. Because I kind of stick to 2 or 3 months, because it does get quite expensive. Like, because the meetup's only 1 day for most people, when people come out over 4 days, I'm out with them and not in my home, because my flat here is so small. Like, it's a studio flat. I only have a bed. I don't have a sofa or anywhere for people to sleep. So it's not suitable for people to be in my bedroom or my bed. Do you know what I mean? I'm quite, even though I'm open on YouTube, I'm quite private in that respect. And I have like a stool I sit on and some camping chairs, but it's not suitable bed. You know, it's my bedroom. It's where I live and sleep and breathe. And this is my workstation wardrobe you're in now. So this is like my little office that folds into a wardrobe. So it's not suitable, because some asexual meetups, they have people come around their houses, they cook food, they watch movies, have popcorn, which is fantastic. But I just don't have the room to do that here. I don't feel comfortable in bringing, you know, even though they're asexual guys, I don't really feel comfortable in being in my home, like, you know, where there's no space. Or, you know, I don't even feel like anyone mostly comes around my place, because I prefer my privacy. It's really weird. I'm an extrovert, but I actually prefer my, you know, I don't mind showing my room off, but I kind of like, this is like my little sanctuary. And you know, one of my best friends I've been friends with her for like 6 years, I think it is now, nearly. She's never even been to my flat, and she's not asexual, but she's my best female friend, and she's never even been to my home once, you know. And I kind of know that it's not really going to be her scene, because she's different to me, and you know, there's nowhere really for her to sit. And I'm really precious about my bed, right? Because this bed, when I was a manager years ago, cost me a lot of money, and I don't want people sitting around the edge of it, because it can damage it. And I have fibromyalgia, which I don't really talk about, but I mentioned it recently in videos. So I have to make sure it's suitable for me. It's like the softest bed I could get. And at the time when I was a manager, I was earning a lot of money. So I bought the most expensive one in the showroom, but it's one that was handmade, you know. But I can't have people sitting on the edge. Most people traditionally just sit on the edge of a bed. I used to be a bed specialist for over 3 years, a manager of a bed company. And I know that it's bad to sit on the edge of your bed. You shouldn't be tying shoelaces on the edge of your bed, for example, which might sound so bizarre, but it's true, because it can damage the edges of your bed, and it doesn't last as long. I learnt all this, so I know I'm speaking the truth. And so I won't, you know, even if my parents come over, I try and get them camping chairs or stool to sit on. But I'm like, you know, move into the middle, or I'll sit in the bed and move into the middle, because if you sit too far on the edge, you just literally damage it. I can't afford to get that bed damaged. I can't afford a new. I think it's 9 years I've had it now. You know, you're supposed to change your bed every 10 years. But I have to have a topper on it, because I have to have it really soft for my condition. So, yeah, it's a double bed all to myself. But it's kind of like, you know, I don't really want people in my home, not because I don't care or like them, but just because I don't feel comfortable having a bunch of people in my bedroom. Do you know what I mean? Where there's nowhere to sit or go. So, yeah. So I'll meet people out. That means I need to find food for 4 days out, you know, and money for activities and stuff. So it's quite expensive for me to do. And prior to this, I was actually working up until October last year. I was made redundant after my 5-year job. They decided to cut the hours, and I couldn't afford to stay part-time, so I took the redundancy money. I'm guessing I'm going to have to stop sitting on the edge of mine now. Oh, bless you, Felicity. Yeah, it does damage them, especially if you've got pocket sprung. Like, I've got a pocket sprung bed. So, like, with a traditional open coil bed, you have, like, wire going all the way around the edge. So it's not quite as bad. But, I mean, it's bad for your back, actually, having an open coil bed, though. You should get a pocket sprung. It's the best type of bed, usually. So the pocket springs are in their own individual pockets of material. And they're handmade, usually. You can get if you've got a cheap pocket sprung one, that can be hand side stitched to the edge. But if you've got a proper pocket sprung one, the springs will be actually encased in their own pocket of material, and they'll be stitched to like they'll be like hand stitched in there. But it splays it out. So basically, when you sit down on the edge of a bed, if they're not pocket sprung, if it's an open core, which is traditional, the springs will go. You can actually see them when you lie on the edge of the bed, or sit on the edge of bed, the springs will spread out. And there's no actual support there when you're sleeping, when you're right on the edge. It's no edge-to-edge support, as they call it. I'm very good at that. I'm really knowledgeable about beds. I love selling beds, actually. There's no what we call edge-to-edge support. So, and yeah, if you sit on the edge of it or go on the edge of it, like, you'll see the springs starting to split over. But it lessens the life of the mattress. It's really bad. And, you know, I paid a lot of money for this bed because I was earning a ton of money back then. My life changed considerably to then. You know, life happens, doesn't it? Things go on. And so a lot of shops are shutting down in the UK as well. And I'm trained in retail since leaving college. So, yeah, it's really important, you know. So I'm very precious about my bed. I don't actually sleep that many hours usually, or I go to sleep really weird times as well. So yeah, so the meet goes on for 4 days, which I love though. I love it. It's just that, you know, I kind of need to, like, you know, can't do it every month because it would be far too expensive for me, because I do get people who travel. Like, I can do little meetups in between. So like when I was meeting the guy in my city, like, sometimes I meet just with him and me, you know, and if there's anyone who lives local that just wants to come out for a few hours in the evening, I can do that type of thing in between, because obviously it doesn't cost me that much money. And, you know, I can get a meal for just over £5. We can meet for a couple of hours. But most of the people that come to my meets are spread across the UK, you know. It's quite funny in a way that, you know, like, this next meetup, there's only actually me that lives in Exeter that's coming to the Exeter meetup. There's a person from Oxford coming on a coach, person from Hertfordshire I mentioned, and a person from Worcestershire. Both of those last two are coming on by train. The other guy who lives quite locally, his bus is an hour and a half away, because he lives on the outside of Exeter, but not too far. But the bus takes him an hour and a half, he said, to get in. And the other woman, I can't remember where she lives. Is it Cornwall or somewhere? But she doesn't live in Exeter either. So it's quite amusing that there are local people. Like, I go on asexuality.org, and there are local people who could come to my meetups, you know. But the people that are local aren't willing to travel sometimes, even though they're not far away. But the people that are further away are willing to travel, and if they're willing to book a hotel up, then you know they're definitely going to turn up. And this is one of the things I talked about in my UK Asexuality conference meetup talk, was the fact you have to find that one white chocolate chip in a cake, if you like, of lots of brown chocolate chips, and one person that's definitely going to come to the meetup. And once you've got that one person, you can then reach out to more people. But with my meetups, I have people that come regularly, you know, because they love it so much, they'll come again and again. So I usually get people who are regulars and people who are new coming to my meetups every single time so far, whenever I've done a meetup since I began them in 2015, I think it was. 2015, yeah, January 2015, that's right, because I had it in my meetup talk. January 2015. Ever since then, I've always met a new person at one of my meetups, at least one new person, if not many more than that. Well, I say many more, like, the most I've ever had an asexual meetup is 10 people before. So my meets aren't huge, but, you know, of those 10 people, there was only me who lived in Exeter, and there was one guy who lived in my city, didn't come till later, so there would have been 11 of us in total, but he didn't come till later, so there was 10 of us, and everyone else travelled. None of the other people lived in Exeter. Oh, sorry, I tell a lie. There was one girl that lived in Exeter. She's gone to uni now, so she doesn't live in Exeter anymore usually. She comes back sometimes, but yeah, so there was one other person than me out of 10 people. There was 2 of us lived in Exeter, so 8 didn't. You know, that's quite a big turnout of not people showing up that don't live in my city. That's quite huge, I think, you know. And so these people I meet in my asexual groups, I meet on asexual sites, you know, on Avon as well. So this is how I get people for my asexual meetups. It's wonderful. It's just wonderful to feel that human, in-person asexual connection. I think it's so important as well when society and lots of people, they don't believe asexuals exist. They can ridicule us. They can cut us down. They can make us feel small. They can not believe us. You know, and I'm very strong in my asexuality, so people tend not to say too much to me. But, you know, I'm super strong in that way, but it's so better for strength. You know, you get more strength to become confident once you're around more asexual people. If you can't get to a meetup, then obviously make more asexual friends online, but be proactive about it, not reactive about it, which is what this video is about in the first place. You know, make an effort. If people stop making an effort with you, then fine, cut them. Don't bother making an effort with them, but at least try, because, you know, once you're around more and more asexuals online and particularly in person, your confidence just soars up, you know. And, you know, it's kind of funny because what I find amusing is if you're ever around sexuals, they get quite shy about asexuality in public. If you talk about asexuality in public, it's like, oh my gosh, you talked about asexuality, like sexual stuff. Whereas if fine for them to talk about sexual stuff in public, like who they shagged last night, excuse the language, or who they got off with, or who they had sex with, or, you know, whatever they want to talk about, it's fine for them to speak about that language and to talk about their one night stands or whatever, or talk about what sex stuff they get up to. But as soon as you mention asexuality and start talking properly about that, you know, having a decent conversation, they just well up like little beetroots that are so embarrassed. I'm like, what's going on? I'm talking about asexuality, which is a lack of sexual attraction. Yet you're more embarrassed about me talking about that than you are about your own orientation, talking about sexual stuff that's really explicit anyway. I don't get it, but I kind of find it amusing. I've been with sexuals where I've started talking about it, and they can't deal with it. But you know, some of them, not all of them, but some of them are the ones that are quite open about their sexuality. Like, there was a guy in my old job, and we were friends, and he's gay. But when he found out I was asexual, it took him a year to accept it, you know? And he just wouldn't accept it. And, you know, he didn't understand it. He wouldn't accept it. But it took him a whole year to come to terms with it. But he was gay, openly gay, and constantly going on about, like, even with me, would say about, you know, like, he would often say, well, I have better sex with myself than I do with these guys. But then he would say what sex he had, like bumhole crack stuff, and, you know, like explicit shaving down there, and, you know, all this type of thing. But when I talk about asexuality, it's like, oh, you know, it's like they can't stand it. It's really bizarre. It's like, but you're so sexually explicit at the dinner table about your stuff and what you do with guys, that when I start talking about asexuality, you can't handle it. It just seems completely ridiculous. It's like the heterosexual guy I dated last year, right? We were sat in the pub, like, and he's, you know, I found out from him, we went to a couple of places together, that he was actually a highly sexual guy. I don't know how to pick him, don't I? And when I first met him, he said, oh, yeah, I'm a bit old for sex now, because he was actually older in birth certification than me, which I don't usually go for, but he was foreign, and he looked younger and acted younger than he was. And, you know, he was... when I first met him, he goes, oh, yeah, you know, I'm not really that bothered about sex anymore now. I'm older. And, you know, it only lasts 5 minutes anyway. I thought, well, he must have been having rubbish sex then. But that's with my experience of my ex. But, you know, but that's what I thought for him, not for me as an asexual. But then I'm not bothered about sex, as you know, but I'm just making that point. But yeah, so I started talking about asexuality. Like, he was talking before, like, in another pub. Oh, yeah, I just meet up. Like, he said that about when I first met him, about it only being short, so it wasn't that bothered. And then when I got talking to him in one of the pubs, he was going about, oh, I buy women meals and then I have sex with them. So basically he bought them meals as like a bribe. Well, yeah, like paying them to have sex is a bit like prostitution, isn't it? So, you know, and then I was in a different pub talking about asexuality, and he couldn't handle it. He was like this. And I'm thinking, you know, I was like, oh, I don't like sex, you know, I like kissing and stuff, but, you know, and he couldn't handle it. He was like really shy and like, oh my God, embarrassed. And I'm thinking, well, you know, we're in one pub, you're there talking about sex stuff, you know, and he even talks about stuff quite openly to do with sex. And then he said, I really don't think people would care that much that some people don't want to have sex. Yeah, I wouldn't think people would care, but it's really a bugbear for them. I was having this conversation with Michael, who often watches this channel. I was discussing it in one of my live streams, And people seem to have a real big problem with people not liking sex, and I don't get it. I really don't understand why. It's like we don't want it. Not that we do want it. I can understand if they're like worried, like say they're with someone and they're worried that their partner might go and have sex with someone else, and I can understand that they would rather have someone who didn't go off and have sex with someone else if they're monogamous. And then, you know, you tell people that you're not into sex, which means you're going to be the most faithful ever in terms of not going off with anyone else, having sex with someone, and they can't handle it. I don't get it. It's completely illogical to me. I only understand it's because they're not used to it and they can't handle the fact that it's different to what they're used to. And obviously it's a lot to get their mind around. I do appreciate that. But I just don't understand the mentality of how a lack of sex and wanting sex can be a bad thing. You know, it's a really good thing. It means that if you get a partner that's asexual, they're not going to go and have sex behind your back. They're not going to go and have affairs. You know, you can trust them with more people. It's less for you to worry about. You know, I don't really understand their, you know, their logic. And also, I was discussing this before, logically, not everyone in the world is going to be into sex because not everyone likes the same thing. You know, not everyone likes pizza. I hate pizza. I can't have it because of my allergies now. But even when I could eat pizza, I tried a bit of pizza bread years ago and it made me feel sick. I can't stand it. But the majority of people in the world like pizza, don't they? You know, and it stands to reason, even in mathematical terms, statistically, that not everyone's going to like everything and not everyone's going to be into sex. And I just think it's so logical that there's going to be people who don't want, need or get the urge for sex. I really believe that. It's just a obvious statement and fact. And I think that people who can't see that, I'm like, what's the matter with your logical brain? Is it not engaged today? Because if this was a different situation, you would automatically say, well, yeah, sure, not everyone's going to like Smarties. Not everyone's going to like Sprouts. Not everyone's going to like going to the cinema. Not everyone's going to like driving a car. Not everyone's going to like going windsurfing. Not everyone's going to like skateboarding, you know? It's like, well, not everyone's going to like sex. Obviously. It's just so blatantly obvious to me. But a lot of people, they just can't handle it. They just can't deal with it in their minds. And it's like a not difficult concept to me at all. But I guess it's because we don't get the sexual urges in the main. You know, we don't get the need, urge or want for that partner's sexual intercourse. And so we don't need that. And, you know, and to them, to sexuals, from my experience of being in heterosexual relationships for half my life and being around sexuals, you know, it's fundamental to who they are. It's a core driving force. It's like their engine. That's the only way I can describe the sexual attraction and also sexual desire, particularly sexual desire, is it's like the engine, you know, that constantly needs oiling to keep them going. It's just like, that's all I can describe it like. And, you know, lately I've begun to understand the difference between sexual attraction and sexual desire even more, because sexual desire means they want to act, you know, they want to have sex all the time. Sometimes it doesn't even matter who it's with. They desire the sex itself. Whereas sexual attraction, people could be like, sexuals could be attracted to different types of people sexually, but they don't necessarily act on that. And that's like a person who's monogamous, sexual person who's in a relationship, you know, they might get sexually attracted to a lot of other people, but the need to actually act on that sexual attraction is not greater than the need to be monogamous with their partner. So they will still stay faithful to them. But there's people who, if they're sexuals and they've got they experience sexual attraction and sexual desire, then they can't really be in an asexual relationship, I'd say, to be quite honest, because they desire the sex. Like gotta have it. Whereas I think someone who experiences sexual attraction but has a less of a desire and has enough lack of desire to act on it could possibly be with an asexual. That's about the only thing I can see working in a monogamous relationship in terms of if a sexual wanted to be with an asexual, vice versa. So yeah. Any other questions that I can answer for you, or anything you want to talk about whilst I'm still on here? This is not quite as long as my last live stream, which was over an hour and a half. I think it was like 90 something minutes, which is my longest live stream last time. But if you've got any more questions, please post them down below. If you've got any more comments, and also once this video is finished, if you think of anything else that you want to discuss, you can post them in the comments below. Or you can also let me know if you want me to make a video on anything specific relating to asexuality, relating to friendships, relationships, dating. That's pretty much a lot of what I talk about on this channel is asexual dating, asexual friendships, asexual relationships, and yeah, the topic of sex does come up quite a bit, which is weird. I tend to talk more about sex now than I ever did in the past because it's kind of like a weird thing, isn't it, to asexuals? It's kind of like meh. But you know, it's kind of like but you know, we kind of have to discuss it because the majority of us, you know, with being just 1% of the population, the majority of asexuals will probably, if we form relationships, sadly end up being in relationships with sexuals that might be quite difficult relationships for us to be in. And it's a case of are they going to work or they're not going to work. And on, you know, I don't go on sexual dating sites. I'm only on asexual dating sites. I make a point of not going on any sexual dating sites. But ASAP, I don't know if you've used that. I can mention that to you while I'm here. ASAP is a dating app for asexuals, and it's like also like you can message people for friendship on there as well. And it was just out on Android, and it's now out on iTunes as well. So you can download it. It's, sorry, not iTunes, Apple iStore. iTunes is for music, isn't it? Apple Store. I'm gonna have to go in a minute because I think I need some food. I get low blood sugar after a couple of hours, and I didn't eat before I came on here. That's my excuse anyway. So yeah, it's on the Apple you know, Apple Store. So basically you can download it to an iPhone now, not just Android phone. But there are sexuals on it. I have to explain, there are sexuals on it. I had this guy on ASAP who came on yesterday. He's 23 years old, right? Acted really sweet and innocent, right? From Morocco, I think it was. I think it was Morocco. Anyway, he was foreign, 23, and he came across as really nice, right? He was messaging me. He was quite excessively messaging me for a beginner message, but he kept going on about, oh, I want asexual friends. But when I talked to him about saying I don't want, because he had on his profile that he wanted to marry. He wanted to marry someone, didn't matter which country it was from. That's a bit of a red flag for a visa issue. Like, if he's that desperate to marry for any country, it could possibly he wants a visa. So that was a bit of a red flag. But as I wasn't interested in him for that, I thought that's fine. And I made it perfectly clear that I wasn't interested in marriage. He goes, no, I'm not married. I said, well, I'm not, I know. But I said, well, thanks for telling me. But I'm saying that I don't want marriage because I saw it in your profile. If that's what, because he messaged me first. And I said I could only be friends with him. And then I said, I don't want sex, marriage or kids. He goes, oh, I don't like sex. He goes, I don't like it that much either. Which was kind of a giveaway that he's probably not asexual if he's just saying I don't like it that much either. And then, yeah, he was really sweet to me and really nice. And then we got talking because he likes reading, and we got talking about my book and stuff. And he said, oh, what's your book called? And then he asked me for my WhatsApp number, and I don't have WhatsApp, which I get a lot of sexual guys wanting a WhatsApp number from me, and thank God I'm not on it. So anyway, I just said I don't have it, but I have Skype or Facebook. You can connect with me on Facebook if you want, because he seemed a nice guy. Went over to Facebook, and then he started asking me for my book for free. And I said, no. I said, you know, you asked me about my book. I gave you the links to buy it. Because he goes, oh, I thought it was free. And I said, you know, I find it quite rude that you said that you're an honest guy and you want to be my friend, but yet you've just been my friend, become my friend on Facebook, and now you're asking to get my book for free. I said, I think that's quite rude of you. And then he changed the whole situation around. He's obviously narcissistic. He changed the whole situation around to the fact that I've hurt him. He's really upset. He kept messaging me saying, you've hurt my feelings, say sorry to me, and all the rest of it. And I'm like, hang on a minute. You know, you were the one who wanted something free when you said you're an honest person, and you've only just become my friend. You know, I want to pay people who want to be my friend, not just because they're, you know, basically trying to get a free book out of me, you know. And then he's going, oh, you've hurt my feelings, apologise, blah blah blah. And he turned really nasty. And I don't know if I should even say some of the explicit stuff he said to me, but it wasn't nice at all. And yeah, it was quite horrible. And it wasn't good. And so basically, yeah, I saw on his Facebook profile that he had 2 pictures as well. One was of him and some dolls, not him, but like meant to be a younger version of a guy with some dolls in a bed. And then there was another picture that was of him, well, not him, but I guess his dream. It was a guy in bed with 4 women rather than the dolls when he's grown up. And that to me, and he was under a different name on Facebook, so that to me just showed that he's, you know, he's sexual because he's thinking about bedding lots of women. And a lot of the women he was friends with seemed to be sexual. Didn't see any other asexuals on there. And he turned really nasty and started saying about, oh yeah, you can suck my cock and stuff like that. I couldn't even spell cock properly. F off and you can suck my cock is what he said to me. And he was calling me all nasty stuff, you know, and it's like disgusting. So, you know, you have to be careful that on ASAP there are sexuals on there, and there are people that pretend they're sweet and innocent who are actually quite horrible. So just be aware of that. I just don't want you to get hurt. So just be aware that not everyone on ASAP is asexual. Just try and ask them some questions and ascertain who they are. You know, I had one guy on there who was a schizophrenic, which I've got friends, 2 of my asexual friends that come to my meetups, incidentally, are schizophrenic. Don't have a problem with it. But this particular guy, he was saying to me, I'm schizophrenic, and I've been locked up in jail for hurting people, like basically beating them up. And then he started saying, well, if people upset me, I just automatically go and beat them up, you know. And I said, are you actually asexual then, or are you just because of your medication that's making you asexual? He goes, I'm not sure. I think I'm asexual. And it's like, you know, but I didn't even want to stay friends with him after I knew he's been beating people up and gone to jail for it. I'm like, well, I have schizophrenic friends, but they don't go around beating people up. Do you know what I mean? And especially, you know, he wasn't even asexual. So, you know, you have to just be wary that on this ASAP, that everyone, it's a great app for making friends. I mean, I've got people to my meetups through it. I've made some really good friends on there. So, you know, still check it out, but just be careful that a lot of people on there, you know, there's still some proportion of people that are not actually asexual. If they write confused in their profile, you then know that's a bit of a giveaway that a lot of the time they're not asexual. I know some asexual can get confused, but we usually at least have an idea of what type of asexual we are and what we want. And also, you know, even on some of the asexual dating sites like ace-book.net, I got this guy, right? This British guy, actually, but he didn't look bad looking for a British guy. And I contacted him about a meetup. And then he was actually saying that he was interested in a relationship. And by the second email to me, just second email, right, he's messaging saying, in the beginning of the email, the same second email, I'm not into sex either. How about slow sex? No, first of all, sorry, it's like, I'm sexually attracted to you. I don't know why. I'm not into sex. How about slow sex? 3 different things in the same email. I'm sexually attracted to you, meaning he's not really asexual anyway. I'm not interested in sex, but I want slow sex. You know, what about slow sex, he suggested to me? Actually in the dark, under the covers and stuff. I'm like, what? Oh my Lord. And then he said, well, my picture as well, it's 5 years old. You know, it's when I was younger. I don't look like that anymore. And I'm just like, crikey, please give me strength. Why are these guys on asexual dating sites and on apps when they're not even asexual? It's just a shame. It's like you've got enough sexual sex sites and dating sites for you to go on. You don't need to be on our asexual dating sites and our asexual app. You don't need to be on them. You've got your own sexual sites. There's tons of them. You know, I've had people coming on this channel, even when I'm live streaming, that have been sexual. I got a picture of a guy, you know, his profile picture, his YouTube picture, when he commented, was a raw penis, you know? Like, it was naked penis. And I'm like, I don't need to see your penis or your dick or whatever you call it. Please, can you go to another channel which, you know, can give you lots of sex that you want? Because this is not the channel. It's asexual, not sexual. Because a lot of people, particularly sexuals, they mistake asexuality for being sexual. So if I put I'm asexual, they think asexual means I'm a sexual person, meaning I want lots of sex. And people private message me stuff sometimes. Like I got one on Facebook with women in a bath with huge boobs the other day. I'm like, I'm not interested. You know, I had someone coming on my page a while ago, my Asexualise page on Facebook. He just said hi, hun, or whatever, and I knew that what he was after. And I'm just like, I'm not sexual, I'm asexual. You know, I lack sexual attraction. I don't want sex. Oh, but we can have phone sex. I'm like, no, what part of I don't like sex do you not understand? And these people, they just don't get it. I mean, I guess if you're sexual, you can't totally blame a sexual person for thinking the word asexual together if they don't have a clue what it means that I'm a sexual person, or whoever puts asexual is, if they don't understand the term. You can't totally blame them. But when, you know, they shouldn't be on asexual dating sites because it blatantly says what asexuality is, the lack of sexual attraction. And also, you know, if I say I'm not interested in sex the first time, they should understand that, you know, and go. I mean, the good thing about the people on this channel that have come on recently that have been sexual, I've told them to go away and go on other channels, and usually they do. I can see them watching me, and then I can see them going very quickly. So I appreciate that, you know, because I don't appreciate sexual people coming on the channel saying sexual stuff or having sexual pictures, but I appreciate them actually leaving when I ask them to. I respect people who respect me, and I think that's good, you know. Because obviously when you're doing a live stream, you can get anyone coming to take part in live stream conversations. It's not just for asexuals, because anyone can see it pop up. I mean, I had two guys the other day, both talking about feet. I don't know if it's the same guy, got two different accounts, because a lot of people, they can get fetishes over feet. But actually, talking about fetishes with feet, asexuals can get fetishes over feet. I don't personally have any fetishes. I don't talk about fetishes. It's not something that enters my vocabulary because I'm not into BDSM, or not even as an asexual into BDSM, which some of them are. I'm not into fetishes or kinks as an asexual, but some people are. But yeah, it's quite common for asexuals, if they're having a fetish, to have a foot fetish, especially if they're foreign, actually. They kind of like, yeah, they kind of love it, and they like massaging the feet and paying attention to feet, having barefoot and doing lots of different types of things with the foot. And it's like, yeah, thanks, but no, you can massage my feet if you really want to, but that's about it, you know. But I'm not into fetishes. Do you know what I mean? At all. It's not who I am. I don't need my feet to be played with. Thank you. I just need them for walking. Oh, dearie me. Anyway, I think I'm going to conclude there because I need to go and get some food because my head's getting a bit lightheaded now, and I do need to eat regularly, and I haven't ate for a while, and I'm very conscious of the fact that I'm starting to go a bit in doolally land in my mind now, trying to keep track of what I'm talking about. My brain is like disengaging a bit from what I'm talking about, which is what happens when you get low blood sugar. You start getting shaky as well. Like my hands are starting to feel like they're getting a bit white, the blood's going out of them a bit, so I need to go and get some food. Anyway, it's really nice to talk to you. Thanks, Felicity. I know you've been watching the majority of this show all evening, so I thank you so much for that. I really appreciate you being here. Thanks for taking part. Thanks for the questions as well. And there's been some other people tuning in as well, so thanks to all of you for tuning in. If you haven't yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button now. Hit that bell icon so you get notified instantly of every time I post a new video or go live. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I think Felicity was the one who gave it a thumbs up before, so thank you very much for that. Giving me thumbs up really helps Asexuality get better known up the YouTube channel rankings, so it's really important. The more thumbs up I have, the more it raises awareness for asexuality. It's really important. And obviously, if you think anyone's going to benefit from this video tonight, please share it with your friends or anyone who wants to know more about asexuality. Basically, it doesn't have to be an asexual person. Some people might be confused and they want to know more. So that's great. And anyway, until next time, I always say embrace your quirky and each other's. And I will see you on the next live stream, which will be today now because we've gone into the next day already. But it'll be much later on usually. Actually, I'm going to the cinema on a self-date today now. I've got to mention that, so it won't be as late at night. It'll be earlier in the day. I forgot about that. I love self-dating, by the way. You've got to try it. I'm going to watch Mission Impossible. I love action movies, so I cannot wait to self-date. It's going to be incredible. Really looking forward to that because I've been at the computer for over 6 hours today. Oh, by the way, yeah, I've been at the computer because asexualise.com is going through a complete makeover, right? So I'm putting a shop on there, and I had got a shop pretty much sorted out on it, but then things happened and I've had to completely redesign it again, like pull the products off the shop. So at the moment it's just got like the blog posts and resource on there that you need, and it's got like a slider with some blog posts. But the shop is going to come back, but I've had to completely, because the speed of the shop was just like nearly 2 minutes. you can't have that loading speed as, you know, a website. It just, you know, I need to get it down to seconds. So I spent all day yesterday and nearly all day today trying to get the page load speed down to between 2 and 5 seconds. And I've managed to get it down, but I've got to put the plugins back on. I've got to put the shop all back on. I had to delete all my images that were on in the shop, which, like, I've deleted over 2,500 images today. I think nearly 3,000 images, I think it's been, because there was over 3,000 on there, and some of them I've kept from my blog post, but I've had to compress them as well. And I've been just literally, I've been so like maxed out, so because I've got an iMac, I've been so maxed out, as it were. I've been so like, you know, like I got to the point where after 6 hours solidly of this website stuff, I just have to have a break, and I just had to come away. So at the moment it's in a bit of a mess. It's got code underneath the slider. It will all be sorted. Basically I'm selecting the best products of asexual products on Amazon. They'll be brought to you on the website. You can then add them to your cart, go to the checkout, you'll be redirected to Amazon to buy them. They'll be added to your basket automatically. If the product's not available in your country, then it won't be added to the final checkout procedure of your Amazon, because then you can't buy it, you know, because they can't ship there. So it's mostly products from Amazon.com at the moment, because there's tons of asexual products on there, more than the UK. But I believe the UK are getting more, so that might change in the future. But yeah, so basically it's going to be fantastic. I had like 165 products on there before I completely wiped it off, and they had loads of different variation pictures on there. So it's just taken me absolutely hours and ages to do this for you. I know it looks a bit of a mess at the site at the moment, so please bear with me. It does say in the footer at the moment it is under construction. So anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you now. Been brilliant to talk to you. Thanks very much for coming on this live stream. Love you lots. Appreciate you all being here. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Bye.